So after a big lull in the Diddy case for a couple weeks, all of a sudden this thing is like happening every single day. Now we're getting these new banana stories. There's a lot going on, a lot of moving parts. And today we have a massive, absolutely enormous story related to the Diddy cases, literally all the civil cases, the criminal case, and Jay-Z. And this is just like... This is wild. If you guys are looking at what I'm showing you here, Tony Buzbee, the attorney who is representing, as far as I know, like basically all of the major accusers of Diddy on the civil side, he got barred from practicing law in Southern New York. Okay, so we're going to get into how big of a deal that is, how that happened. Jay-Z did it. And what it means for these civil cases. I mean, it's like, this is a huge win for Diddy and a huge win for Jay-Z, especially because, I mean, listen, dude, this establishes a pretty clear mandate of people who want to come after Jay-Z legally. You know what I mean? And I'll get into that in a second. But most importantly, we're going to go over like what this actually means for Busby and the civil cases. But, yesterday, we went through the story relating to the new motion that's going after the search warrants that were used to raid and search and seize all of Diddy's stuff in his homes, all the hard drives and all that. And then we also went through how his other attorney had resigned on the 21st, and that really idiotic race-driven filing that happened 2 days before that. I actually looked into this yesterday after I posted the video and found out that it had been public that the two groups of, the two attorneys had been butting heads for a long period of time about how to approach defending Diddy. And I think that absolutely supports what I had said, which is that I think that Anthony Rico had filed that filing on the 19th, which was like, hey, they're only doing this because he's black and he's successful. And yes, he may have transported escorts over state lines for the purpose of having sex, which is illegal. But guess what, pal? You can't show me a single example of a white person ever getting prosecuted with this exact law. And you're all, so what exactly are you saying? Okay? This is a RICO case. This is not whatever. You're talking about one charge, and you just admitted that he's guilty of it, and your argument is that most of the time it's not enforced? Do you understand how RICO trials work, bud? Because all you did is just give him a checkbox on one of the predicates. Like, what are you doing? And then he resigned 2 days later. So I think now that we know that there was conflict between the two sides, that certainly verifies what my theory was. But now we're going to go ahead and take a look at this little number right here, which is the shocking development that Jay-Z got Tony Buzbee banned from practicing New York and Southern New York, or banned from Southern New York. Okay, so, I mean, technically what happened is because his lawsuit against Jay-Z was deemed so non-credible, he's not allowed to practice law in Southern New York, okay? And obviously that has massive implications. Let's just jump right into this story. Right after you subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'll wait. Go ahead. I'll wait. You still haven't done it, dude. I'm literally looking right at you. This is like the never-ending story where you're like reading the book and it's like, you can't be talking about me. I am talking about you. I'm just kidding. If you know that movie, then you're old like me. I mean, not old, but old enough to know the movie, The Never-Ending Story, and understand that reference. So, something to think about, unrelated to whatever I was talking. I literally don't even remember. Oh, yeah, like the video. That. Okay, so fans have heavily criticized Tony Buzbee, the lawyer who represented Jay-Z's rape accuser after he was barred from practicing in Southern New York District. Buzbee reportedly didn't ask for permission to practice in the district and was denied the request after doing so. The recent development puts the lawyer's lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs in the district in question, as he has filed over a dozen cases against the latter. So he's got 12 cases in Southern New York, and he's not allowed to practice law there. And again, this is all stemming from the Jay-Z case, or, you know, what has been dismissed. Like, maybe I should have started with that. Tony Buzbee represents, what am I doing here? Okay, obviously this is very important context. Let me rewind for a second. So the reason this is all happening, right, is because Tony Buzbee filed a lawsuit against Diddy and Jay-Z stating that they raped this 13-year-old girl after the 2000 MTV Music Awards. Her story, in a nutshell, was she went down to Times Square or wherever it was and got picked up by someone who was all, hey, little girl, you're exactly what Diddy's looking for. Would you like to come to an after party and meet all the celebrities? And she was like, sure, I'm 13. I'm here by myself. I would love to. And so she got into the car. They went to wherever. She said that they went to some White House. She got there, and then Diddy and Jay-Z and what is implied to be J-Lo put her into a room, and then they ran a train on her or whatever, okay? Now, at the time, I had no reason to not believe this story or, candidly, to believe it, because I don't know who this accuser is. I have absolutely no idea what is going on here, right? Now, did I want to believe it? Of course I did, right? I would love for that story to be true. No, I mean, not really. Like, I don't want this to have happened to 13-year-olds. But, you know, it's like, it's a sensational story, right? I feel guilty even having said that, dude. No, I didn't want Jay-Z's kids to find out that he had done that to a 13-year-old. I take it back. I didn't want it to be true. That's not true. But the bad part of me that also exists, if it was being honest, of course he wanted it to be true, right? But I'm also very objective when it comes to these things, or I at least try to be. And so I'm not just going to condemn a guy because someone just says a thing happened. I'm going to at least wait to hear the facts of the case. And so what happened is definitely 100% against the advice of her counsel. The accuser did an interview on MSNBC, okay, where she stated like more details about the case, which gave NBC the ability to go backtrack and go check up on all this stuff. And they validated that like there's literally like absolutely no credibility to this accusation at all. She can't prove that she was even downtown New York. She can't prove that. Literally can't prove any of it. And the details that she did give were like, you know, not credible as soon as they fall. Like, we're talking like one bit of vetting. Example, she said after it happened, she ran from the place, called her dad from a gas station. Her dad came and picked her up. Her dad literally says, okay, well, we live 10 hours away from Manhattan. And so I think I would have remembered if I drove 10 hours to pick my daughter up from Manhattan. That never happened. Okay, so right out of the gate, her own father is saying she's lying. Okay, and also it turned out that the accuser was a white autistic chick that lives in Arkansas, which is weird. I mean, it's just weird, man. It's a weird thing. And so essentially what the reason why Jay-Z and his attorney were able to attack Buzby afterwards is they're like, this guy was trying to extort us with a story he knew was fake. All he would have had to do is make one phone call to find out that there was not only was there no credibility, she's lying, right? Is what their argument was. Now, is it possible? I've been getting a lot of flack from people. Like, is it possible that Jay-Z paid off her dad and paid off whoever? Sure, possible. Unlikely, you know? Unlikely. Because the reason this happened is because she went on to MSNBC and did this dumb interview, and her attorney would have never allowed her to do that. Okay? So anyway, so that's the basis of why, you know, the fans are saying that he's a scumbag, right? So, the recent development puts the lawyer's lawsuits against music mogul Sean Diddy Combs in the district in question as he filed a dozen cases. Okay, right. So, Tony Buzbee denied the ability to practice in Southern New York. His lawsuit against Jay-Z is dismissed and not coming back. And now Tony Buzbee is trying to ensure he can keep litigating his other lawsuits against Diddy because his admission application to the Southern District of New York was denied. Buzbee suffered another setback when his request for permission to practice in Southern New York was not okay. So legal journalist Megan Kniff reported Buzbee's inability to practice in the district. She shared a ruling from the Committee on Grievances dated February 13, 2025. So it's only a week ago. The ruling read, the Committee on Grievances has considered Anthony G. Buzbee's petition for admission to the United States District Court for the Southern District of New York. Per the committee's review of the dockets, Mr. Buzbee has appeared in cases in this court without seeking admission. Therefore, the petition is denied. It concluded, in the event Mr. Buzbee moves for pro hoc vice or regular admission in this court in the future, he must attach a copy of this order to his motion or petition. In the post caption, Kniff wrote, his lawsuits against Jay-Z is dismissed and not coming back. And now Tony Buzbee is trying to ensure he can keep. Okay, so why, dude? This article is written by a dimwit. So anyway, and then it says, look. The next thing says the ruling means Buzbee must include the letter of denial whenever he requests permission to litigate in Southern New York. You literally just repeated yourself 2 separate times. Good Lord. So she shared a snapshot of a motion he filed to litigate pro hoc vice. I don't even know what that. Let me see what that means, dude. So pro hoc vice means. Is a Latin phrase that means for this occasion, it's a legal practice that allows attorney to temporarily represent a client in a jurisdiction where they're not licensed. Okay, so he's just, they're denying him doing it because he's not licensed there. She also shared documents from Candace McCrae's lawsuit against Diddy, in which the judge figured out that Buzbee, the plaintiff's attorney, couldn't practice in Southern New York and asked him to file a motion to appear, yada, yada. Several netizens reacted to Kniff's post about Buzbee and took turns slamming the lawyer who generated much buzz after representing the woman who accused Jay-Z of. Yeah, I mean, like this is an absolute catastrophe story for Tony Buzbee. I mean, like, bottom line, this could not have gone worse for him. And I mean, all the Jay-Z fans are just dunking on Buzbee all over the place. Like, let's just read some of this. Several netizens reacted to Kniff's post about Buzbee and took turns slamming the lawyer who generated much buzz after representing the woman, yada, yada. One person wrote, LOL, this lawyer really underestimated Jay-Z. It's like, I mean, maybe, yeah. Or maybe underestimated his counsel, Jay-Z's counsel apparently was real sharp. Now, another person added, Tony Buzbee is irresponsible and shady. He filed a case against Jay-Z without seeking admission in the Southern District of New York because he knows he cannot be sanctioned by the court without one and was completely hoping Jay-Z would settle before it gets far. Now, that is a solid theory right there, right? I mean, honestly, I don't know. What do I know? Seems like a solid theory, though, because everything that Buzbee, like, this is where I'm at with what I think Buzbee was doing. Buzbee goes to Jay-Z. He says he has an accuser. Horrific story, right? 13-year-old. Probably worth it to a billionaire, supposedly worth $2.2 billion or whatever, to just pay and avoid this thing. And but if Tony, if Jay-Z does push back, it gives Tony Buzbee the ability to make an example of Jay-Z, which makes every other celebrity that he's going to go at immediately settle, right? It's like, if they'll go public against Jay-Z, why would they not blow me up, right? Jay-Z's a way bigger, more powerful celebrity than me, so I'm going to pay, right? It's a win-win situation to go at Jay-Z initially if you're Tony Buzbee. As long as your stupid client doesn't go on MSNBC and blow your entire case up and potentially blow your career up, right? Which is what happened. And now, in reverse, what happens is Jay-Z looks like the guy. It's like, dude, don't go after Jay-Z, man. You see what happened to Tony Buzbee? You see how they did Buzbee? He just got it. He completely flipped it on him, right? Now, it certainly helps when it appears that the accuser, is dumb as a box of rocks and probably was almost certainly lying, Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Jay-Z's never done this. I'm certainly not saying Diddy's never done this. I'm just saying, in this case, honestly, I'm not even saying whether or not this case happened. I'm just saying that they clearly did absolutely no due diligence about whether or not she was going to stand up to even a little bit of scrutiny, right? If her own father was not backing her story, then what are we talking about? You know what I mean? It's like, all right, so, well, you don't know who you talked to. You don't know where you were. You don't have anybody with you. We don't have any way of verifying this. But wait, you said you got a ride home from your dad. She's like, that's right. They're all right. Well, here, let's at least verify that. He's all, I'm sorry, what? No, I never picked her up in Manhattan ever. I certainly never. No, I would have remembered that. Yeah, for sure I would remember that. I know that never happened. They didn't even do that. Anyway, third ex-user commented, a true 1-800 lawyer. He put his other cases in jeopardy to go after a big fish because of greed and internet disinformation. Wrong, and wrong. I just laid out exactly why he did Jay-Z first. He just didn't factor in that his client was a dimwit that would go on MSNBC without talking to him. Now, if he sanctioned her to go on MSNBC, then I agree he's an idiot. But I highly doubt that because he's not an idiot. He's a really smart guy. Another person added, here it goes. That lawyer is 100% dirty and looking for payouts. I mean, that's what lawyers do, bro. Another commenter urged those being represented by Buzbee to seek other attorneys. They wrote, real victims better go look for another lawyer now. Any person still retaining him is a liar and a fraud, just like he is. What? God, man. People are so dumb. I'm sorry. Like, people are so dumb. I read these things and I just say to myself, like, what about, like, how does this make sense to you? Real victims. Okay, so here we go. Ready? Real victims. So we've established they are real victims, right? Better go look for another lawyer now. Any person still retaining him is a liar and a fraud. What? You said you're talking to real victims, but if they retain an attorney you don't like, then that makes them a liar and a fraud. You said they're real victims. What are you talking? It's so dumb. News of Buzbee's inability to practice in Southern New York comes a week after he voluntarily dismissed the sexual assault lawsuit he brought against Diddy and Jay-Z. Right, because he investigated. He was like, oh, she was lying. And I probably knew that before. But in the lawsuit, which was filed in December, an unidentified woman claimed rappers took turns raping her at MTV Awards After Party 2000. After several back and forth between Buzbee and Jay-Z's legal team led by Alex Spiro, the woman voluntarily dismissed the case with prejudice, meaning it can't be refiled in its current form. After Buzbee dropped the case against him, Jay-Z, who previously filed a lawsuit accusing him of undermining the legal process, released a statement expressing his displeasure with the legal system. He wrote, "Today is a victory. The frivolous, fictitious, and appalling allegations have been dismissed. The civil suit was without merit and never going anywhere. This fictitious tale they created was laughable, if not for the seriousness of the claims." I mean, dude, if he didn't do this, then he should get paid. If they, like, I mean, straight up, if Buzbee knew she was lying, you know, if someone goes, hey, dude, Jay-Z sold his soul to the devil. Him and Beyonce are in a satanic cult. I'd be like, I believe it. So don't take, I believe it. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, if this particular one did not happen and he had to take all of the damage that comes with it having, if he really did do it, then he should get paid, dude. The 99 Problems rapper said he wouldn't finish his experience on anyone. He wouldn't wish his experience on anyone. Give me a break. He's like, oh, gosh, as a billionaire being dragged. I mean, believe me, I understand. I mean, that, don't get me wrong. Being a billionaire does not erase being accused of raping a 13-year-old, obviously. I don't even, dude, if someone just straight up made that up about me, I don't even know what would I do. They're like, Jesse on fire, more like Jesse on child. I'd be like, wait, what are they saying? It's like, hey, how was she? That little kid you did that with. I'd be like, what? Like, what do you do? You're like, it's not true. They're like, so what, you're calling her a liar? I'd be like, yeah, I'm calling her a liar. Are you out of your fucking mind? Yes, 100% I'm calling her a liar. What's her name? I don't know her name. So you're calling her a liar. You don't even know who it is. I'm like, I know that I never have done anything even remotely in the universe of what I'm being accused of. So I can call a person saying I did a liar. I don't need to know their name. It's a tough situation to be in if you get falsely accused, is all I'm saying. The trauma that my wife, my children, my loved ones have endured can never be dismissed. This 1-800 lawyer gets to file a suit hiding behind Jane Doe, and when they quickly realize that the money grab is going to fail, they get to walk away with no repercussions. That's probably not going to happen. The court must protect victims, of course, while with the same ethical responsibility, the courts must protect innocent from being accused without a shred of evidence. It's true. May the truth prevail for all victims and those falsely accused equally. I don't think that we've heard the end of this case. I think Buzbee might end up having to pay, maybe. Anyway, that's what we got for today. Love you guys. Bye-bye.